Hello, my YouTube page, and everyone else out there who's gonna watch this video. Um, Today is October 25th, 2023, 8:31 in the morning. I'm here at my parents' house again, still, because I'm not going back. I said it before, I'll say it again 1,000 times. I'm not going back this time, and I wanted to actually make this video a few days ago when this happened, but I was too upset and I thought it best for me to calm down and do some research so I could figure out what my next moves are going to be first before I go ahead and move forward with making this video. Because as you all know, well, most of you that watch my videos regularly, I've often complained a lot about my relationship with Marco, his drug addiction problem, his issues with his mother, and how it's affected me and my everyday life choices, essentially, how I've maneuvered my life around basically to accommodate whatever they wanted to make sure that there was peace in their household because their household included my daughter's household and in essence my household, and I very much so wanted it to work with us. I wanted to have a family with Marco. I wanted him to be that father for our daughter, and I know that he's never gonna live up or be that father that I want him to be. Responsible, loving, caring, fully present father that is always concerned with just our future and bettering our future, not his mother's, not his self, but our future as a unit. And his actions and choices throughout the whole time that I've been with him have shown that he's not interested in that. I've tried to get him out of there. I, one point, had applied for housing for all of us to get out, and we had an opportunity to go, and he didn't want to. He didn't want to leave mommy. I asked him at least to get a vehicle under our name just to have something, tangible with us and something that we could start practicing our independence on together as a family. Um, he didn't want to either. He wanted a vehicle under his mother's name that she could control um, us with, essentially. And, you know, I, I can't argue with somebody that's going to be choosing that route over and over again because all it does is make me seem like an ungrateful, problematic person. So I just went with the waves and I let whatever happen happen. Let whatever life they chose to build for us manifest and tried my best within the circumstances to make it work. Within that, including getting our own business together, businesses that she invested into to create so that we could have something together to grow and not, have separate working lives. Basically, something where I can be his caretaker and be there so that I can watch over him instead of, her because she was trying to basically hand that role off to me because she's been his caretaker his whole life. And she would try to do that to me, constantly manipulating me into being his, basically his overseer. I mean, she would literally tell me that I have to let the man think that he's in control while, still making decisions. How sick is that? That's her mentality of, I would argue, if finally a few years ago or so, or a year maybe ago, she finally stopped once I really like put it back to her like how dumb that was. She finally stopped giving me that advice that I should just let a man think that he's, in charge and in control, but really like be manipulating everything behind the scenes. She would tell me to lie to him directly, like withhold information, and really bad advice for a marriage. Really bad advice. And I had to deal with that, as I'm trying to build my life with this man. And I tried really hard, but I reached my end and I left, and I've been away for the longest that I've ever been away from them since the baby's been born. Because this cycle of me coming and going into their lives has been happening since before she was born. When we were just dating, it was much, much worse, horribly worse. Like, she would literally call me crying and crying that, he had done this and that, and she feels so sick, like she's gonna die because of all the stress. And if I could please, 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 please just call him. Please just send him a message. Please, 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 please. I'm begging you, please, because he needs help and she doesn't know what to do. And then somebody needs to help him. And he listens to me. And he respects me and da 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 da, which is a bunch of crap. So out of my goodness of my heart, I'd go back. Because I didn't have to go back. I had places to stay. I didn't need to stay there. Regardless of whatever she might spout into the world of how much she helped me and how much, if my family wasn't there and they didn't want to deal with me. She doesn't know shit about my life, about what I was going through with my family, how much family I have, how much friends I have that I could turn to if I really need it, or the other options that I had at the time. Like, she has no idea. She just thinks that because I was under her roof and she was throwing money at me that I was taking and going with, that she was, doing this grand favor. But in reality, I'm the one that was doing you a favor. Okay, Diana? I was doing you a favor by going back over and over again before my daughter was born, when I had no obligation to. I had no reason to. I was doing you a favor because I cared about you. I cared about your well being, and I cared about Marco. And I loved him. I did. I don't love him anymore. I don't love you at all, dude. I care about you still. I care about your all's well being, and in the sense of how it will affect Athena if something ever happened to any of you. But that's the bottom line. I don't trust you. I actually feel like you all would literally try to take my life in order to get my daughter and take her from me because of all the schemy things that you've done to me and how you've hurt me and manipulated me up until this very last week when I went and did you a favor. Because I know, despite you saying that, oh, you want to help me out with this week's check and give me money, give me income so I can have money, and how you graciously just gave me the check that I'd been bugging you for, and insisting that I get my half of, having to tell you that I'm gonna get it, even though I there were threats from Marco that he wasn't gonna give me all my half because he wanted to use it to take out the stuff from the pawn shop that we both pawned together, in order, and the half that I used to pay our bills because we actually needed it. I needed that to pay our bills, to pay the internet, to pay my baby's phone, to have money for food because we had lost the food stamps. I needed it for that. And you're going to come and try and take my income to pay for that so you can get the stuff back that you don't even use, that you're not going to use. I knew it was a bunch of crap, but because I wanted to keep the peace and I just wanted things to get better, and the money has been helpful. I mean, I have it saved. I haven't wasted it. I'm saving it, but It's there now, and it brings me, it puts me at ease, at least, not and feel less stressful, so I could have time, to get another income. But I didn't need it. I mean, I had other options already lined up in case that didn't come through, for me to survive, for me to tend to my daughter, to feed my daughter and me. I had all those things already. When you guys weren't calling and asking if she had eaten every day, if she was okay, knowing that I didn't have money, thinking that I didn't have food stamps, because I didn't tell you that I had applied again and got approved without Marco on there. I didn't tell you that. Why should I? But you thought I didn't have anything, and you were just letting me struggle, just letting it happen, hoping that I wouldn't be able to tend to her, letting the idea that she might be starving, essentially, letting that be a possibility in your head, and not calling, not caring about that, not asking because you were mad or you just wanted me to struggle, whatever the reason. You didn't. You haven't been. This whole time that I've gone, I've been taking care of her. Except for the few days that she wanted to go with you, and I let her go with you because she was crying for you all, and I don't like to see her sad. I don't like to see her in pain. And now you do this to me. You do this. You're trying to control the situation again. And just to be clear, this is not asking for full custody. It's asking for joint custody, which I give them at least that a bit of credit for, although not really, because I know that they can't handle her when she gets really bad, and they know that she'll need me, or they just wanted to put me on child support. Maybe they didn't want to get full custody because then I could claim, whatever from there. But not that I would, because I would never let my daughter go, and you're not gonna get full joint custody. You're not. Now, after all of this, after the stuff that you did before this, making me go work for you, acting like you care that I had to walk over there, picking me up when I was already almost there, insinuating, oh, he didn't want to let you walk. He saw you and said, oh, pick her up, like if he's so caring about me, because he didn't let me walk the 10 blocks that I've walked several times before when he's gotten mad at me. You all fucked up. That's all I'm gonna stress aggressively to you, is that you fucked up, because now I am gonna file for full custody, and I'm gonna limit your visitation rights. I'm gonna make it so that you have to ask me and make sure that she wants to go with you every single time, whether you like it or not. And she's only gonna go whenever she wants to, and she's gonna come back whenever she wants to. Now, the control is gonna go completely to us and away from you. Because all you've been doing since the day that I met you is trying to control my life, trying to control my choices, taking my opportunities away from me, taking my vehicles away from me, my money, making sure that it's been difficult for me so that I have to go and ask you for help without having to look embarrassed again and again by going and asking for help from others, by telling them the story of what happened. If I wanted to make it work, if I had that in my mind still, I had to go back to you and try to make amends. Because if I go and ask for help from somebody else, they're just going to tell me what I need to hear, which is just let it go, leave them. They're not trying to help you. It's not in your best interest to stay with them, with him. But because I wanted it to work with us and our family, and I wanted Athena to have her father there, I sucked all that up and I tried and I tried. Even as I had my own anger problems and emotional issues to deal with, which you all know very well about. Everybody knows very well about. You can try and put that in there as a an issue of contention that's some kind of revelation, maybe to the court because they don't know, but they're going to know. They're going to know everything because I'm going to tell them. Because I'm not like you and I don't try to hide and manipulate stuff. Okay? I'm getting help now. I'm going to therapy now. Finally, I found, coincidentally, right after I decided I'm not going back, I found a space of therapy where I'm going and where it's weekly, where I feel comfortable and listened to, heard. And I've only gone one time so far, and I already felt that in that meeting, which is something I hadn't felt from any therapist that I've tried to talk to over the past few years, which I've tried to talk to several. I'm not, whoever's a viewer of my channel knows that I've had several cases in court that I've had to deal with for different things, and I've won every single one of them. And this one I am definitely not gonna lose because this has to do with my daughter. And I'm not going to let my daughter go and be forced to stay in a toxic environment where the people that are in that environment only make each other worse in those conditions, and they literally ignore whatever she's feeling or going through in those moments. The day that I left, the day that I went back, after I had left, I had went back for Athena because she had called me asking, or I had called her asking if I go pick her up because that was the what she had originally told me, that she wanted to come back. She was gonna go with them, but she was gonna come back with me that day, that night. And Diana called me and saying, oh, that she wanted to stay and da da da. So I called her to make sure that that was the case because I know how they are. I know how they can be manipulative and they can be straight out liars. And I wanted to hear it from my daughter that she wanted to stay. I wanted to make sure she was okay with that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I could ask her fucking 100 times if I want to. As long as I'm making sure that she's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. I wasn't telling her to come with me. I wasn't forcing her. I was asking her, are you sure you want to stay? Is that what you want? That was when I went to pick her up. Before that, I called her on the phone. And on the phone, she was crying. Well, not crying, but like kind of, like whining, like, oh, mommy, I want to go. I want to go with you. But daddy said I have to stay. And my whole family was hearing that conversation because I had it on speaker to make sure that there were witnesses. And they heard my daughter, how she sounded scared. They all looked at me like with faces of concern because they know how her dad is, how he can get when he's upset, when he's angry. They've experienced it, some of them themselves, so they know. So they showed genuine signs of legitimate concern in their faces when they heard her voice. And I told her, I'll go for you, baby. Don't worry. If they don't want to bring you, I'll go for you. You don't have to stay there if you don't want to. I'm not going to leave her in a situation like that where she's uncomfortable, where she feels neglected. I'm not. So I went with my parents to go get her. And by the time I had got there, apparently they had bribed her with taking her to the kangaroo jumpy place in the morning, and I don't know where else they were gonna do. They bought her a camera and a computer, a laptop, and were bribing her with that there. And I went inside and I got some more of my stuff that I had left as I was asking her, "Are you sure?" You want to stay there? She was in the bath when I got there. I went to the bath. Diana was there staring at her in the tub like she never does that. She doesn't even scrub her. Like she just lets her take a bath by herself and while she's on the phone or whatever. But she's there all of a sudden in the tub or in the bathroom with her, like talking to her. And I asked her, are you sure you want to stay? Are you sure, my baby? And she said, no, I want to go with you. Uh, and and she said, I wanted to. I said, I thought you did wanted to stay, or I asked her something like that because she had said that she had changed her mind, or Diana had said she had changed her mind, and she said, oh, I wanted to go to the jumpy place because that's what they did. They told her they were going to take her the next morning. Manipulation tactics, manipulating, how they always do, how they've done to me. So I told her, okay, if you want to stay, that's fine, baby. And I said, just give me a kissy, and I'll get you tomorrow then. And I was gonna leave after I got my stuff, and she came yelling, "No, mommy, wait! I want to go with you," cause she thought I was gonna stay with her. That's the only reason why she said she wanted to stay. Because usually the past times that I left, if she chose to stay there, I stayed with her. I always stayed with her because I didn't want to leave her there alone. But this time I was like, I can't stay anymore. I can't. I can't be doing this over and over. If she wants to stay, that's fine. She's going to have to, eventually by herself stay with them over the night if that's the arrangement we're going to have, the peaceful arrangement we're going to have, which is what I thought. Um but she cried, that she wanted to come because she heard me that I was going to leave. As soon as I said I'm going to go, she said, "No, I want to go with you." So I said, "Okay, baby, well, let's go. Get your stuff, get some toys, get your things." As soon as she said that, "Why you always have to say stuff?" Yana starts going off. "You always had to make problems and in front of her, in front of him, and my parents were outside. They hadn't came in yet at that point. They were outside because they didn't want to let him in. But as soon as she started that and a confrontation happened, I'm trying to tell my baby, just get your stuff, baby. Come on, get whatever toys you want, because she had been crying and crying for toys before then. And I asked her to bring her some toys, or if I could go pick them up, and she never answered me. She never gave me a time when I can go. She never brought them. She brought her new toys that she brought, didn't bring the ones that I bought for her that I asked her to bring. So I was having her get her toys, whatever she wanted. But Athena was getting uncomfortable. She couldn't pick properly because Diana's there yelling at us, or at me, in front of her, and talking about stuff like, oh, because I was getting some shirts for her or something, and she started, or look, I didn't even get. I was just looking in her closet because I was just making sure, I was just trying to see that, trying to think that got everything as she's like yelling at me. And then she starts saying something about the skirts, that to not take everything because she needs stuff there for when she goes and visits. And she started complaining about some school skirts that she had bought. You took the skirts and da da da. And my parents heard all of this outside, so they can vouch for it too, and they will. And I literally looked at her. I said, I didn't take your skirts. I didn't take them. And I didn't because I already knew she was going to complain about it. I already knew. And I went and I went to the pile of clothes on the chair, threw everything off, and the skirts were there underneath. If she would have cleaned, or if he would have cleaned, they would have found them. But nobody cleaned since I had been gone. They were there in the stacks pile of clothes. And she shut up when I showed them to her. I put them in her face. Well, not directly in her face, but I held them up so she could see them clearly. And I threw them. I said, I didn't take your skirts. Okay, because I already know how you are. I bought her new school clothes. And I got her, my sister gave me some also. Some that she had there from her daughter, but I also bought her some new ones and some shoes. I got her stuff that she needed because I could have always gotten it for her myself, but you always had to beat me to the punch. You always had to go and do it right away because you got paid, you had money right away, so you could do it. So why am I gonna go buy her all these extra stuff if she already has it? Just to compete with you to say like, oh, I can do it too. I'm not like that. That's not how I am. I just want her to be cared for. That's it. So if she has it there, that's all that matters to me. Doesn't matter who bought it for her, where it came from, as long as she has it. But I knew that she was going to be like that, so I did it myself this time. I bought it myself before she went and did or offered. She didn't this time because she was mad, but whatever. I didn't need her. I never needed her to do it. And so the confrontation escalated when I went to try and get the Xbox that is my daughter's Xbox that we got her, or that the Tooth Fairy got her. And I want to make I forgot to make a disclaimer before I started ranting and raving about him that I'm not making any disparaging comments. All I'm talking is the truth because they put a temporary restraining order on me where I can't talk about them in a bad way in front of my child. She's not here. She's not hearing any of this. She's at school. She doesn't watch my videos, so she's not going to see this. So I went and tried to get the Xbox for her, for us. It was paid for by me. I'm the one that got it under credit at Best Buy under Progressive credit, and I paid for it. I made the payments, not Marco. But he's the one that uses it most of the time. He has it now still. He's the one that basically is taking control over it since I got it, even to the point where he's not letting her use it freely because he wants his turn on it. Literally getting mad at her because she snatched the controller out of his hand. She wanted more time to play. So what does he do when I go and say I'm going to take the Xbox? He blocks me. The only time that he got up to stop me from doing anything or physically make movements in all of this confrontation is when I went to go get the Xbox. Blocked me. And by this time my parents had already walked in cuz they heard me getting more loud in my voice cuz I admit I get angry when stuff like that happens and I start to lose my temper. I would never lose it on my daughter in that moment, the way they like to imply. I would never. But to them, yes, because they upset me. And that upset me when he got in my face blocking it, saying I'm not going to take it, telling me I can't take it unless I get the stuff out of the pawn shop first. Like if it's only my sole responsibility to get it out, even though we both went to pawn it and we both spent the money. You spent more of the money on it on that we got than I did. You spent way more of it. You wasted more of it. And I spent it for what we needed mostly. But of course, his mom's going to back him up. So what does she do when he blocks me and says I have to take the stuff out of the pawn shop? She doubles down. That's right. That's right. You have to take the stuff out of the pawn shop. I want my stuff out. Because it's stuff that she bought for the business. For us to use for the business. Our business equipment. Stuff she invested in us. She doubles down and says, no, I can't take it. She backs him up. And I said, I'm not the only one. I argued my point. And I went to try to go around him and he pushes me. in front of everybody. My parents were already in by that time trying to calm the situation, trying to my mom was trying to talk to his mom. My dad was just observing, making sure things didn't get too out of hand. And once he pushed me and I went cuz I wanted to so push him back. It took me so much of my control to not push him back cuz I just I was done with him. I didn't care, if we weren't gonna get back together anymore. Usually I'll think that kind of stuff, and this time it was like no, like after you the way you talked to me when I left, telling me less crying, more packing. When I was crying, just being brokenhearted again over our situation, my daughter's situation, that she's not gonna have her dad there in her life every day. Yeah, that's what I was crying about. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, I was crying that you weren't gonna be there with her because I know how much she loves you when you're nice and good to her. And you tell me less crying, more packing. Okay, you got it, sir. You got it. And I wanted to push him, but I didn't. And my dad luckily came and started pulling me back to calm me down because I was just in his face, like hoping he'll do it again, like waiting just so I could. But my dad pulled me back, and then my daughter, as my dad's trying to talk to him, because he said something about, oh, she got in my face, and my dad's like, you pushed her, instead of like his mom the last time that he had pushed me in front of her when I had gotten in his face. She starts backing him again, saying I got in his face, like if that gives him the right to physically touch me and push me. And my daughter grabbed my hand when my dad had pulled me back and starts leading me out the door. And I just calmed. My anger just. I looked at her and she just looked at me like, come on, mommy, let's go. I don't need that Xbox. She didn't say that, but her eyes did. I just want to get out of here. And she told me when I brought her home that night, and I said in another video, and I'll say it again, she told me, thank you. Thank you for picking me up and taking me away from that house with all the fighting. She hugged me and she kissed me. And I'm not going to let her go back like that under their control. Not anymore. Not at their discretion. No. This declaration that he wrote is full of lies. And his scumbag lawyer that he got is a lawyer that doesn't care about the truth. He cares only about winning, getting getting the guilty off. And I know it because I had a back and forth with this lawyer, and I'm going to try to get him actually off the case for a conflict of interest. And I'm going to also put a complaint on him because he probably has put many children in danger for not making sure that the facts of whatever is being put into court are there before he goes and files documents, because this is full of lies. This declaration is full of lies. And I had a confrontation with him online where I he posted a link. I'll put it in the comment section. He posted a link showing on Facebook a picture of him and another guy. Or not a link. He posted a story on Facebook where with him and one of his clients that was being charged with meth trafficking, a large amount of meth, and he was facing 40 years to life or something ridiculous like that. And he got the guy off, obviously on some technicality, because there's no way that somebody's going to be charged for something like that without there having been some, proof that he was there or that he was connected to it somehow. He knows something. but the guy doesn't care about the truth. He just cares about, winning. And so I asked him, so whose meth was it then? And he's like, nobody knows. That's why my client got off. What a lawyer answer, right? And I said, yeah, sure. I'm sure he knows something. He has to have known something. That meth didn't just come out of nowhere. And I started arguing with him about honesty. That lawyers have the burden of honesty, and you do. There's a rule that says you have to insist that your client be honest. You can't be insinuating or allowing dishonesty or whatever, like, to go. You can't do that. It's illegal. But lawyers use technicalities all the time to get their clients off, even if they know the truth, and that is not ethical. It's unethical. If you know the truth of something, if you know the facts, if your client knows the facts and they tell you, you have to be honest. You could tell them, like, don't tell me or whatever, but if you know, and you know they know, there's that burden of honesty. But he's like, that's not how the law works. You don't know how the law works. That's not how, like the law doesn't care about honesty, essentially, is what he's implying there. And obviously, he's shown in this document that he served me with that he doesn't give one single fuck about honesty, or how his methods of litigation can negatively affect people. Because if I was not just a person, a mother of unfortunate circumstances where I didn't have, the know-how on how to do any of this, if I didn't have the money, if I didn't even know there was sources out there that could help me for free, if I didn't know any of that, I just saw this and got scared and just withered up and cried for a couple weeks, I wouldn't even know that I only had a couple weeks to file, or I could lose my fucking rights. They could take my daughter from me. She could be put in a situation that's dangerous to her and her well-being, despite what these lies say here. If I didn't know any better, and I'm sure that he's done this to several different parents out there, men or women, whoever he's going against, where he's put children's lives in danger simply because he doesn't care to get to the truth of the matter of things. And I will be putting a complaint on you, Javier Guzman, rising star lawyer that he loves to brag about on his Facebook page. I will be putting a complaint on you, and I will be asking for you to be disbarred for this. And I don't know if it's going to happen, but I hope it does. Because lawyers like you are scummy, and you do not deserve to be representing anybody with that kind of attitude. At all. He says here, since our child's birth, I have been the primary caregiver, consistently creating a stable, this is Marco's unsworn declaration, consistently creating a stable and nurturing environment. That is a fucking lie! That is the fucking biggest lie! He was in rehab, motherfucker! He was in fucking rehab! When my baby was born, they had to call him and ask for permission from the rehab center for him to be released so that he could come and watch our daughter being born. He had to ask for fucking permission to be there. No, he was not the primary caregiver. He wasn't even there the last few months that I was pregnant with her, because he was in rehab. He was in rehab by force from me, because I gave him an ultimatum after he fucking took one of our daughter's gift cards that we got from her baby shower and traded it for drugs. He traded it with the neighbor drug dealer that gave it back to me because the fucking drug dealer felt bad about it. fucking felt bad for me because he knows me. And he knows him. And it wasn't even him that traded it. It was one of his fucking workers. Scumbag workers. And he gave it back to me. That's how I found out. A fucking drug dealer had more compassion for me than him. And for my daughter than him. So no, he was not the primary caregiver. He was not even there. He was not even there. His mother was there. Always calling and asking for help, if I needed help, this and that. But that's the fucking problem, right? Is that his mother keeps pushing herself into our lives and doesn't let us go and live our lives independently. That's the fucking foundational problem with him. She doesn't let him go. To this day, she doesn't let him have the truck. She keeps the keys. That's how I found out that this thing was coming. Because she waited after I worked for them. And after I gave back the keys to tell me that he had put these papers in. And I had already been served. It was already in progress since before they asked me to go work. How fucked up is that? They had already started the process. Even though I was letting him see Athena, letting him talk to her, letting everything. I'm still letting him now. She just doesn't want to now. I don't keep her from talking to them. But she sees how it's affecting me. How I get nervous. And I'm spending less time with her because I'm having to do this. She sees that. And I explain it to her that it's important. I have to do this. I'm sorry. And she knows how they are. She's not dumb. He goes on to say, I've always taken care of her, ensuring she feels safe, comforted, and loved. Yeah, keeping her Xbox, pushing her mother in front of her. Yeah, that's real comforting, real loving. However, Veronica Aleman, the mother of our daughter, has exhibited worrying behavior and anger problems, leading to public conflicts and physical altercations in our child's presence. That's a fucking lie too. The ending part, yes, I have anger problems. Everybody knows that. Everybody who knows me fucking knows that. I tell everybody, I'm not trying to deny it or hide it. I've been trying to get help for it for a long fucking time, as my YouTube vlog shows. I've been trying for a long fucking time to get help from him. And I'm the one that's been helping myself control it mostly. Because I haven't been able to get help. And I've never ever fought in front of her. I've never ever fucking pushed you or anyone else in front of her. Yelling, yes. Arguing, yes. I've done that. But physical altercations, no. That's a fucking lie. The only one that's done that is you. And my parents were there to prove that, and they will. I have consistently ensured my daughter's well-being by attending her medical and dental appointments, caring for her physical appearance, dressing her, and providing her with nourishment. Excuse me. This is paperwork that I got from my daughter's doctor, primary care provider, that shows right here, the child is seen with mother for her 5-year checkup. That was her last visit. The one before that was her 3-year checkup, which is here also, and it says the same thing. It doesn't say anywhere that the child was present with parents, both parents. I forgot to put this headset back on, but let me repeat that. The child is seen with mother. It says there. Plain as day. No, nowhere on there does it say the father was present, because he wasn't. I take her to her doctor's appointments. I take her to her dentist's appointments. I take her to the emergency room when she gets sick. He went to her first couple doctor's appointments when she was an infant, and then he stopped going because he didn't like to. He went to her, I think, her like first ever dentist appointment, and then he never went again because he didn't want to. He doesn't like going. Even though I asked him to come and, tell him he should come with us, he never wanted to. Made excuses always. I'm the one that takes her. I'm her primary care provider. I'm the one that ensures that my daughter's well being is being attended to by taking her to these appointments and setting them up. The doctor and the dentist know me, they don't know you. And they've given me this information. The dentist also is supposed to email me the information today. I'm the one that has food stamps for us. I'm the head of household on there, not you. Even when you were on the case, you were not the head of household. It was me because I was the one that filed and did the paperwork that they needed, not you. So the nourishment came from me. If maybe your mother has fed her and, asked her brother doctor for this or that for her, never taken her to the dentist. But if anything, your mother could make that claim, but not you. You're not the one that did it. That's a lie. Your mother doesn't count for you, dude. Even though you think that it does because you guys are like this, it doesn't count. And the court of law is not going to see it as yours because your mother helped you. Because that's part of the problem, right? That you can't understand. And you never fucking dress her. God, you don't even like to wipe her ass. I am wholeheartedly dedicated to creating a secure and affectionate environment for our child. Dude, you served me with papers while I was with her, and she saw me getting nervous and worried, and that made her in turn worried and nervous. She actually asked. She said she thought because they were coming, like it was gonna get me in trouble with the police somehow, and she said, if they are they gonna arrest you?" And I said, "No, baby, they're not gonna arrest me. If they arrest you, I'm gonna have a good talk with Nana and Daddy." She said that to me. She said that to me. She's 5. She's 5 years old, and she told me that. No, you do not wholeheartedly dedicate to creating a secure and affectionate environment for our child. If you did, motherfucker, you wouldn't have done what you did. You were not being kept from her. You were seeing her. You had just had her that weekend. Since Wednesday, she went. You took her to school. You picked her up from school. I cried all fucking day those days. Well, the first day all day. The next day I cried every now and then randomly because I was sad and it hurt. And I hate that, I can't have her there knowing that she's out, and I have to like respect the time that she has with you all. It hurt. But I want her to be happy. I want to create a stable environment for her as and make this process as easy as possible, which is why even though I had grounds to file and I know how to do this fucking shit and this doesn't scare me at all. I already know everything that I'm going to do here and what I need to file. And you're an idiot for thinking that this was going to help you at all. But that's not a surprise, I guess, that you think that this would be in your best interest, cuz that's all you're doing it for your best interest, not in hers. What we had going was already in her best interest, for her to call and go with you whenever she pleased without the interference of the law. But now you're bringing up opportunities where police are going to have to be called, maybe, and we have to go to court. She might have to go and testify. You're making it harder on her, not me. Not me. And you're not going to win. You're not going to get joint custody. You fucked up. You both fucked up.